Hey, this is Pastor Ron, and our question for today on Overflow is this. How often is that check-in with God? I'll explain. If you already have received a grand plan or roadmap from God, are you looking for confirmation on every stage or step of that roadmap or plan? Or do you just go knowing that God already confirmed that roadmap? So let me say this to you. Number one, it is extremely rare that God calls you to do something where he doesn't want to be a part of what you're doing. I think about the Apostle Paul as he wrote his letter to the Corinthians. One of the things that he said to them was, we are co-laborers with God. This is kind of how we've seen God operate historically with people in the scriptures. When you look at Moses and from freeing the people that were in Egypt to going through the desert, Moses was in continual communication with God during that whole process. It's rare that God calls anyone to do anything and doesn't want to do it with them. The other thing is that oftentimes when God does call you to do something, God in the process of what you're called to do also wants to show some things about you and about him to you, so that during that walk or during that task, there are some things that God is teaching you about himself and some things that he's teaching you about you. In fact, one of the things I've been saying to people a lot lately is that there are some lessons that God wants to teach that he's only going to teach in service to him. There are some lessons that if we never actually serve him, we'll never learn, because what he wants to do is bring us to a deeper knowledge of himself and a deeper knowledge of ourselves. And he does that through our serving him. So in many cases, when God has called you to do something, he wants to be walking with you, and he wants you to be walking in dependence with him. And this is the other question, right? Is because if you're called to do something, do you have all the knowledge required to do it? Do you have all the resources required to do it? If not, then you absolutely have to have a dependence on God to be able to get it done. When the Lord called me to pastor, I did not have the knowledge to do it. I also didn't have the resources to start and plant a church. And what I've learned over the 14 years that I've pastored Designer's Way is that there are many lessons that God had to teach me on the journey. So I've had to depend on God for knowledge, wisdom, discernment, resources, so many things. So it's very rare that God is going to give a task and then say, hey, just go, and he's just going to step back. In many cases, God wants you to walk with him in the course of that task. He wants you to be a co-laborer with him. He wants to show you some things about himself, and he wants to show you some things about you, as well as have you conquer the task that he has set you on. And it's just an awesome thing for God to invite you on a journey with him, because anytime that he asks you to do something or calls you to do something, that's really what he's doing. He's inviting you on a journey to accomplish something with him. And so I think that's the best way to look at that when the Lord has called you to do something. Hey, I hope this has blessed you. This is Pastor Ron, and you know that as long as we have questions on Overflow, we will be back every Monday with some more questions answered for you. God bless you. I'll see you next time.